Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we are talking 90 Day Fiancé Season 11 Episode 12, Blinded by Love. So we're just going to get on into it. We've seen actually a rare episode when we've seen all the couples in this episode. So we're going to start with Sean and Aaliyah. I'm not a fan of them, but let's get them done. So they're a couple weeks out before their wedding. So they're doing their little last minute wedding stuff and whatever. And Aaliyah is considering doing some more like surgery. Now, we all know Sean is still uncomfortable with this transition of Aaliyah. So we seen them talk about, just talk about what they have to do and stuff and everything. So Aaliyah finds this doctor who actually works a lot with the trans community, basically. So they go to this doctor and they talked about the surgeries that she wants to have, bottom removal surgery or whatever and everything. And, she wants also possibly to get more boobs and stuff and everything. So, they're doing some consultations about that and everything, just weighing out their options. Sean said that he wants to support everything that Aaliyah does, but, he's still really having a hard time with this transition, basically. He said that, he fell in love with the man and is trying to cope with that. And I notice a lot, and I was telling somebody this before, I notice a lot about this with bisexual men. They're not always, I'm not saying all, but they're not fully always into a trans woman. I notice with bisexual men, they either want just a man or just a woman. They're not fully comfortable with a trans person. Now you would think, oh, well, they're trans, so he gets the best of both worlds. Not always true. And everything. They either want one or the other and everything. And that's what I'm noticing with Sean, that he didn't really sign up for a trans woman. He did sign up for a man, but it just is what it is. So, but now I could be wrong, but that's just my perception on that and everything. It's just, I notice a lot even watching the show over the years and some other shows with people who are bisexual, and they either want one or the other. So yeah. That was Sean and Aaliyah. Sean, and he's worried about, of course, money and of course, is this surgery going to even be worth it? But Aaliyah's all in on it. So, but I do think they need to focus more on their wedding than just this right now. I think Aaliyah is too focused on that instead of the focus being on the wedding and on why she's in America in the first place. That's just my opinion on that. So moving on. So that was Sean and Lee. Next couple I want to talk is Mark and Mina. Now, we didn't see Mark, but we just saw Mina. She goes out with one of Mark's older friends, and they go to this thing called Stitch and Bitch thing. So she hangs out with all the old ladies, and they instead of doing their little croquet and all that, and stitching and stuff, they have a thing where they just all meet together and just bitch about their problems, basically. And lately, every time we see Mina, she's crying about something. She's just always for the last few episodes, she's just been crying and everything. She gave up her whole life. Her son's not here and everything. She had to deal with the daughter. It's just been a little bit much for Mina. So she shared that with her group of friends and everything, and she brought up the fact that she went down to North Carolina to meet the rest of his family, and the prenup was mentioned, and one of the friends was like, "Oh hell no." Oh hell no! Why is he making you sign a prenup? You guys have a daughter and everything that needs to be protected and so forth and everything. So Mina came to this conclusion, which I think is pretty smart. She said that she'll sign the prenup on one condition: if Mark adopts Clayton. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Now Now that has to be now. Of course, that's a good idea, but I think that Clayton needs to be on the board with it, and on top of that, Clayton's biological father needs to be on the board with that too. We can't just adopt him just because we want him to. That I believe Clayton's old enough to make that decision and everything. So it has to be really up to him and stuff and everything. So we're gonna see next week when Mina has that conversation. It doesn't look like Mark's gonna take it that well, but I think that's actually a good compromise. I'll sign the prenup. All you gotta do is just adopt Clayton. That's all. He's gonna be here anyway. So why not? So yeah, that was Mark and Mina. Next couple I'm gonna talk is Stevie and Maddie. So remember what happened last week? Maddie got so mad when he found out that Stevie painted her friend nude and everything. And, he is very, very, religiously, not into that. Now, the question is, in this episode, they, were basically separate the whole time. Basically, I guess there was a soccer game between Iran and the U.S. or whatever that they were supposed to watch together, but he was just watching on his phone, and Stevie was just like, "Is that the big game?" And he's like, "Yep." Why didn't you tell me? You're really mad at me, aren't you? He's like, "Yep." And he keeps asking Stevie, are you bisexual and everything? And Steve, every time, he feels like Stevie keeps giving him a vague answer, vague response, because she's getting frustrated at him asking that and everything. And so, and I see his point, because she has been giving him vague responses. Now she keeps saying no, but now it's just no, and I don't want to talk about it no more. No, and I'm done talking about it. No, I'm done talking about it and everything. That's all she keeps saying, basically. She needs to come out and just say, "Look, Maddie, I am not bisexual. I'm into you 100%. Please quit asking me that." But instead she just says, "No." Is that what you want to hear? That's not really convincing in his defense. Now, I don't think, maybe I'm thinking she might be a little curious, but I don't think she's actually bisexual and everything. So I do think Maddie needs to let it go and everything and just move on and everything. So yeah, that was it for Stevie and Maddie. Next couple I want to talk is Greg and Joan. Now they actually had their scenes in this episode was the best scenes I've seen all season. This was the highlight. Greg finally stepped up. So first things first, they're outside playing with the dogs and everything. Joan's playing with the dogs and stuff. The mom comes and says, "Greg, your phone's been ringing off the hook all day." And he's like, "Okay, let me take it." So Greg goes in, and it's that state job that he applied for a few weeks ago. They called him. Greg got the job. Congratulations, Greg. He got the job. He comes out and breaks the news to Joan and says, "I got the job." She's all excited. He's excited and everything. So they decided, in celebration, to go take a trip to New York City. And, before they went, Greg was teaching Joan some New York accents, "I'm walking here. Forget about it." Having Joan have that little New York accent thing, how they do in New York and stuff. So they go to New York, they go to Times Square and everything. Joan tries the New York pizza. She says that was the best pizza she had, basically, and everything. And she's just basically loving the New York lifestyle, the nightlife and everything in New York and everything. And when I was watching that, I was really happy for them. And Greg was so excited. Joan was so excited and everything. They even got a nice hotel room where Greg got the rose petals and had a romantic night and everything. And he said he tries himself really hard to be romantic and everything and Joan was just in awe. So and you know what? That's what I want to see on the show more. I want to see more of that instead of all this nonsense and everything. So, Greg and Joan, their best moments of the whole season. So I hope they can continue that trend, and I hope Greg actually fully takes that job. He got the job, so I hope he actually goes to work and actually does it and everything. So rumors have it that he didn't really take it. I don't know yet, but we shall see. But Greg and John had the best episode, best moments of the whole season so far. So moving on, next couple I want to talk is Jessica and Juan. So Jessica and Juan, as you know, we haven't been seeing much of them lately throughout this season. They've been out for so many episodes in the 12 weeks of the show. So they are, they're also wedding planning. They go to this vineyard and everything, and with them living in Wyoming, and he came in. I guess he came in this winter of 2023. Like they're really like, it's really cold. It's really cold out in Wyoming and everything. So like they're gonna have like this outdoor wedding and everything. It's gonna be cold, but it's supposed to be like romantic. It's gonna be like by a fire and stuff and everything or whatever and everything. And one said, and they said if it's below freezing and snowing like crazy, we will move it inside, whatever. Now, Juan, he said that he likes this. This is cute and everything. But with him being Colombia, he said there's no Colombians in where they're at in Wyoming and stuff. So he feels like that he wants to have some kind of like Colombian like tradition like during his wedding. Jessica says, like, why? Like, we had all this time to prepare, now you're just telling me. Because he said in Colombia, when they have their weddings, it's almost like a carnival, basically. It's a big celebration, like, all kinds of, it's really big. We all know in 90-day history, when the weddings are in the other countries, they go all out. They, I think I want to get married in another country because their weddings they go all out, basically. So I see what Juan is trying to say there. Jessica was just like, well, you should have told me that all this time and everything. I do want you to have your culture, which is fair enough, but like, should have said something instead of now just a couple of weeks left before the wedding, basically. So, and another thing, Juan is still like, he's not like he's homesick, but he's cruise life homesick. So, because as we know, Juan used to work on a cruise ship and everything. So apparently Juan gets a call from his boss, and he didn't really tell his boss that he was like fully quitting, and like he left. He just like left and everything, and just wanted to keep the door open just in case and everything. And his boss called, said like, do you want to come back and do some more work on the cruise? So we seen Juan go to the gym. He met up with, I think it was Megan's husband or whatever, and they do a workout and everything. And he tells them, and I guess like they're preparing for his bachelor and bachelorette party and stuff. I guess they're going to some kind of gambling place in South Dakota, whatever. And he was telling him that like, the boss called and wants me to come back, and his friend was just like, well, Jessica's not going to be happy, and she's not even going to be happy that you're considering it, basically. But it's best that she knows that and to see where your head's at and everything. So yeah, I think that Juan, I will admit the cruise life. I've been on a cruise once. I was just there back in January on a cruise. It was fun. It was very fun. The staff was great. The people were great and everything. That cruise life is fun. But, I do feel like, and this is a good job, but I do feel like at times for certain people who don't really take life, don't want too much responsibilities, I think that's the perfect job for them. But the thing is with Juan, he about to have a wife, he has a kid already, so he has to, if he didn't really want all of that, your choices, it's your choice, basically. So I'm just saying, but I see where he's like sick and misses the cruise life, and plus that also pays. Since he's in America until he gets after he can't work until months after he gets married and everything. So and we seen this like conversation a lot in previous seasons of 90 Day Fiancé, that the foreigners, they want to move up the wedding so they can file their paperwork quickly so they can work quickly. Okay, fair enough, but the Americans are just like, that is just a lot of paperwork. That is just so much, and we got so much to do on a short little time. We only got 90 days to get married and everything, and plus we're filming and everything. We had to do this and that. Like it's crazy. is a little bit much. So I'm when the foreigners like do that, like I don't get too mad because everyone likes to assume, oh, they just want the green card. Only a couple people in the 90-day universe that just wanted the green card, like Muhammad from Even Muhammad. He clearly said that he just wanted his green card and everything, and there was a few others too. So besides, with the exception of those people, like I'm not like mad at them for feeling that way because when you're in a different country and you can't work and you're coming from your country where you were just like having your way with life and everything and coming here to do nothing, it does get depressing. It really does get depressing. And speaking of depressing, let's talk freaking Sarper and Shekinah. Oh my goodness. So Sarper and Shekinah. Now we just remember last week when they got back from Montana, they got into a big fight and they just been staying in separate rooms and everything. They come this episode. They just just fighting and getting nowhere. Like I guess Sarper had like a meltdown. At first, he didn't. I guess it wasn't about Shekinah at first, but then like Shekinah feels like she suffered because of that, and then it turned into her and him. And Sarper feels like Shekinah is not who she fell in love, not who he fell in love with in Turkey, and everything, and all that. But my thing with Sarper is that he thinks he's like Shekinah's God-given man of the universe, basically. Throughout the fight, and he kept on saying, "You're not gonna find a man like me. I'm perfect. Well, I'm not perfect, but I'm like perfect for you. This, and that, and everything. You like me. You like a bad boy and everything." Shekinah was like, "No, like what are you like? Like no, it's not like that. And one, I don't like a bad boy. I like a masculine man, and everything, and basically, and so like." Shekinah said, like, if you keep acting like this is why I really didn't want to get married in the first place. I didn't want to really be married. But, like, but you acting like this is just the reason why I don't want to get married and everything. Sarper's like, well, people fight and everything, but you're bad at, like, fixing the problem. And she was like, well, what do I got to fix? What did I do? I'm the one working here and everything, blah, blah, blah. Supper was like, well, I'm bored. I'm getting depressed and everything. And Shekinah's like, you go out all the time. You've been loving here in LA. Then he kind of contradicted himself and said, well, I'm not homesick, but like I do miss like my culture. And like you just said that you're depressed because you can't do anything. And then you're going to turn around and say that you're not homesick. That was a little contradictory on him and everything. So, like, I was seeing, like, for a while, I was seeing his point, but then he just started just being so arrogant and self-centered about himself to think he's God's given man to Shekinah, basically. And we all know that he ain't Mr. 2,501 women, basically. So they got nowhere in their argument and stuff and everything. Shekinah's just like, I'm just going to remove myself from the situation before I say or do something I'm going to regret and everything. And they just got nowhere. And I was looking at Shekinah's like Instagram like recently, and she's like kind of like bashing Sarper, saying that how hard it is to live with him and stuff. And, she's not really all that happy and stuff. So I'm kind of curious when the tell-all comes how that relationship unfolded. So yeah, that was Sarper and Shekinah. And the last couple I want to talk was not the couple, it's the throuple. The throuple. And like I said, yeah, I cannot wait to talk to them. I cannot wait to talk to them. So Matt and Amini, they Amini sets up they meet up with Annie and everything. And Amini sets up a date for Matt and Annie because a few weeks ago, Annie told Amini that she loves her more than Matt. And last week, Amini told that news. So she just feels like, well, they need to spend some time together, just the two of them without me, to see like where they're at in this. So Matt and Annie spend a day together, and Matt brings that up. He said, well, I heard that you told Amini that you love her more than me. So, like, what did I do? Like, what do I say to this? Amini said, like, well, Matt needs, like, you need to open up more. You need to, like, be there more. You're not there that much and everything. Like, I do like you, but you gotta basically step up a little bit. So he said, okay, fair enough, basically. So they go like on a little date at the beach and everything and kiss or whatever. Cool. Then later, Matt and Amini have a conversation, and I guess Amini's been talking to Annie's ex-boyfriend, and I guess his name is Ray, and I guess he is American, but he's currently in Mexico, and she wants to meet up with him. And Matt was just like, "Wait, we're gonna meet the ex-boyfriend," and she's like, "Yep." He's like, "Okay, we'll see how this goes." So they get ready. They want to go meet the ex-boyfriend because apparently Matt and Amani have been sending Annie money, and they've been sending it through Ray. I guess they opened up a bank account when they were together, and every time they sent Annie money, it has to go through that account and stuff. So it's just a little suspicious on that. So they're gonna meet up with Ray to get the inside scoop. And judging by the previews, and we've been dying to see this since the Still to Come preview, I guess Annie's real name is Brenda. I'm kind of curious to see how that came about, basically, and everything. But okay, Brenda. So like I said last week, Annie is playing both of them. Like, she's not being truthful. Like Matt and Amani want to go meet her family and stuff, like, and everything, and they want to go there as her girlfriend and their girlfriend and stuff and everything. But she is playing games. She is clearly playing games now. And I'm not saying this just because I'm gonna possibly interview Matt and Amani and I need to be nice. No, I'm serious. Regardless of that, Annie is playing games. She is playing games. I don't think like she's really into either one of them. And I said this last week. Annie seems like one of those people that will just randomly ghost. She's probably not hasn't ghosted yet because she's filming. But if she wasn't filming and they were going through all this, she would be one of those people that just ghosts and you never hear from them again. She'll block them and just go on with her life. So like I really don't, if Matt and Amani want to be in a throuple, that's fine. But I don't think Annie's the right person, in my opinion, but I could be wrong, so yeah. Anyway, guys, that is the end of my review. Like I said, we saw all the couples in this episode for the most part, so yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be back sometime this week. Like I said, when we start, since the last resort is done and everything, and I'm not doing 90-day diaries, and we got a few weeks left before the 90-day hunt for love. To fill in the void and put in some more content, I'm gonna just do some catfish rewatches, and I promise this week I'll get those into you guys. So be on the lookout for that. But until then, y'all stay safe and have a good one. Love you guys. And I'll see y'all again soon. Bye, y'all.